video is going to take a whole lot of editing. I'm so mad. Can't control my emotions. Hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sheraton Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. So if you've been following along with us over the course of the past 3 videos, we've been talking about our farrowing. We showed setting up our farrowing paddock. We talked about Helen, who was not progressing as quickly as we thought she should. We've been waiting on piglets. And then in the last video, we actually showed some of our piglets being born. So today, I want to talk about what our farrowing numbers ended up being, what the whole experience was, how Helen's doing, and I'm mad. I'm madder than snot, and I'm going to tell you what I'm mad about, so hang around for that. Also, real quick, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Follow along with us, give us a thumbs up. We've had just a ton of comments. We've got a lot of new folks that are following us, and we just can't thank y'all enough for that. It means a bunch to us. But anyway, let's talk about Helen, let's talk about piglets, and let's talk about a problem that we've got in rural agriculture. So y'all remember Helen, and she's our new Berkshire gilt. This was her first time farrowing, and Helen had a lot of trouble. I mean, just to be frank with you, she did not have a pleasant farrowing experience at all. It was terrible for her, and it wasn't much better for the rest of us. So on Monday afternoon about 1 o'clock, well actually Monday morning about 9:30, Helen started going into some very noticeable labor, and we could tell she was in labor. A lot of grunting, she was very uncomfortable, a lot of nesting behavior, started contracting, so we could tell, you know, it was getting pretty close. So she had her first piglet about 10 minutes after 1. And the first piglet was very non-eventful. Came out fine, piglet looked good, went to nursing really, really quick. Second piglet came along, and we had to help it out just a little bit. It seemed to get stuck in her vaginal opening, so we were able to get it out. As soon as it came out, boom, another one followed right behind it. So she had 3 within, that probably took, you know, on the video it looks like it takes about 2 or 3 minutes, but overall I think that was probably over the course of about an hour. So then she delivered a partially developed piglet. Looked like it had died in utero, you know, weeks ago, and it just was not fully developed at all. So we were at 4 at that stage, with 1 being non-viable. So then the next piglet came, and it partially delivered, but it was stuck in the birth canal. And we left it for a couple of minutes to let Helen see if she could go ahead and have it naturally, and ended up we had to pull that piglet. And by the time we pulled that piglet out, it wasn't breathing, no activity. We gave it some mouth-to-nose resuscitation, tried to do some chest compressions and that kind of thing, dried it, warmed it, stimulated it, all the kinds of stuff that, you know, I've learned to do over the years dealing with human babies, and we just could not revive that piglet. So at that stage, we had lost that one. Shortly after that one delivered, another one came, and it looked like it had died in utero probably a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks before. Mostly developed, but was really, really small, so it was a piglet that would not have survived anyway. So after a couple of hours of nothing, Helen was just having a ton of trouble. A lot of labor, a lot of, you know, you could tell she was just in a ton of pain. So we turned to YouTube, watched a couple of videos, and we went in and done a manual evaluation internally of Helen, and there was another piglet in there. So, fence is hot. So I was able to pull that piglet out. Well, as soon as I pulled that piglet out, about 3 minutes later, another one delivered, and it was viable. So the one that I pulled was viable. The one that delivered shortly thereafter was viable. So at this stage, we were at 5 viable piglets. with 8 births. So, you know, we were kind of just going to give her a little time and see what happened. And a couple hours went on, nothing. So Sandra had been gone during the day. She got home late that evening, came down. She done a manual evaluation on Helen. I had already gone back in a second time. At this stage, we're getting kind of concerned, afraid that we're introducing a lot of bacteria. So I was afraid to go back in. Sandra's hand and arm is a little bit smaller than mine, so she done a manual evaluation. And there was another piglet in there, so she pulled that other piglet out, and it was not viable. It was fully developed, but it had apparently died in the birth canal. So at this stage, we're at 9 with 5 piglets. So not the best results in the world, but at least we've got some piglets. So we left them for the night and decided the ones that were nursing were doing great. They were on the teat, they were drinking, they were active, everybody looked good. So we had 5 piglets that were nursing. We felt like we were probably in pretty good shape for the night. Helen still having a lot of trouble. You could tell she was very uncomfortable, but we thought, hey, we're probably good for the night. So we came down the following morning to check on Mama and the 5 piglets and see how everybody was doing. And 3 of those piglets during the night had died. Don't know if Helen had rolled over on them, if they had gotten out away from her and had gotten cold, it was a little cool that night, or what happened. So we had 3 dead piglets, 2 live piglets, and we had a sow that was sick. And I mean, she was sick as snot. She had a lot of drainage from her eyes. She had some drainage from her nose. She was still laboring. She was having a lot of bloody discharge. You could just tell that this pig was sick and she was not doing well. So this is the stage I mentioned a minute ago that I was mad, and this is where I got really frustrated. We made 4 calls to vets that were mobile vets, advertised as mobile vets, advertised as farm vets, advertised as caring for farm animals, and I couldn't get a dadgum soul to come out here and look at this pig that was about to die on me. And I could tell, like I've been in medicine for human medicine for, daggone near 30 years, and this pig was sick and she was about to die, and we could tell that she was not going to survive. So on the 4th call, I got a hold of an equine vet about an hour away, Polaris Equine, Dr. Stephanie Freeze. And Stephanie, if I'm butchering up your name, I'm so sorry. Stephanie had pity on us, and and so she checked, and we were within her service area, and she said, "Yeah, I'll come out and check. I'll give you a call when I'm on the way and let you know how far out we are, and let you know what time we'll be there." So Stephanie got here. She had one of her vet techs with her. They drove their car down here to the farrowing paddock, and Stephanie she's about 5'2", 3, 4, very small lady, but she's got about 7 feet of go-get-itness in her. She jumped in there and started checking Helen, done an x-ray, and decided, and I'm going to overlay some of the footage that we got while Stephanie was here. She started doing some manual evaluation on Helen. She flushed her uterus, and during the uterine flush, when she was draining, Stephanie went back in there for a final check, and she said, "There's another piglet in here." And so she worked and worked and worked, and at one time she was in her shoulder. She was up to her shoulder in Helen, almost standing on her head, and she was red in the face. She was grunting. She was sweating. I mean, she was busting her tail. She was busting her tail to get a hold of that piglet and get it out. And she worked, and finally she was able to get the piglet out. So Helen ended up having a retained piglet. And so Stephanie put her on some oxytocin. We're doing some antibiotics, and we're also doing some anti-inflammatory. On our farm, you know, we've talked about it before, we don't like to use antibiotics, and we do not use antibiotics prophylactically. We don't feel like our animals are pharmaceutically challenged. But in this case, we did feel like it was important for the health of Helen to make sure that she was going to do well and she was going to be able to make it. So the point I want to make is, again, I think I said this on an earlier video back whenever we had a sick ewe. I live right outside of the third largest city in the state. Yeah, the third largest city in the state of North Carolina. I'm 10 minutes from the center of downtown Greensboro. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe I'm in too urban of an area. But when farmers that are trying to grow animals, raise them the right way, can't get the support that they need for their animal health, but you've got these big guys that are out here that are raising 30,000 chickens in a house or 15,000 hogs in a house, and they're propping those animals up with antibiotics and they're pumping them full of chemicals and all that crap. But guys like us, we can't get any support. There's something wrong with the system. And I'm all about self-reliance, being resilient, figuring out how to solve a problem on your farm. I think that's what makes farmers who they are. To not give up and to keep working and to figure stuff out, you know, and make it work on your farm. But sometimes you've got to have that support. And when we can't get that, and we can't get it from people that are advertising and marketing and propping themselves up as a farm vet or a mobile vet or whatever, you know, would lead you to believe that that's the resource that you need, that's ridiculous. I mean, and it pisses me off. It's just not, it's not right. What are we gonna do about it? Ain't a dang thing I can do about it. But I tell you what I will do next time I got a sick animal. I'm calling that vet that came out here and busted her ass to help us out in a tough situation. So I guess maybe if you're a small farm and you're trying to do stuff like we are here, just try to get that relationship built with that local vet if you've got one. Try to find somebody that's going to be reliable for you and is going to help you out whenever you get in a bad spot. So this video is going to take a whole lot of editing. I'm so mad. Can't control my emotions. So believe it or not, Helen is feeling better. We came down this morning and she was down. We thought that she had not made it through the night, but gave her antibiotic, but she was breathing. We gave her antibiotic and her anti-inflammatory medicine. Apparently that stuff tastes pretty nasty, so as soon as we gave it, we rolled her over on her belly so she could breathe a little better, and she popped up and went into a seated position. And so she acts like she's feeling a little bit better. We've got her to drink some water. We've got her to eat a little bit of feed. So she seems like she's doing a little better. So we're going to keep watching her. We do have 2 piglets. They're up at the house. In the house, we've had chickens in the house. We got pigs in the house. That's just the way it goes. But we got the piglets up at the house. We're bottle feeding them. We have brought them down and put them on her earlier today, and they nursed. And she seemed to respond to them. She's got plenty of milk. That's better for the piglets than that artificial stuff that you can pick up at the feed store anyway. So we're giving them a little bit of mom's milk, and we're just going to keep managing things as best we can. So that's our farrowing story. 2 piglets out of 10. Certainly not the results that we had hoped for. The mamas, little mama, big mama, they had farrowed back in April, and we had 19. We've got 19 out of 22 of those piglets, and actually one of the others, as a friend of ours, has her. So we had 20 out of 22. The old saying, the good Lord looks out for drunkards and fools. I guess he gave us a pass on the first one, but we took a butt whooping on this one. Vet confirmed kind of what we had thought after we had so much trouble. Helen is not built for piglets. She has too narrow of a pelvis for those piglets to be able to pass through easily. So she's not built to be a mom, and we're not going to try to rebreed her. So we're not going to do that to her again. But anyway, we're going to take care of these 2 piglets we got up at the house. We're going to continue to care for Helen. We'll see how everybody does here over the next few days, and keep on plugging away. I'm going to post a link to a couple other videos over here on the side. That subscription button's going to pop up in the center of the screen. If you've not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Follow along with us. Share these videos with other folks that have got an interest in local foods, local farms, small farming, where their food comes from. And we've got a video on angel coming up here, so a lot of folks asking for that. Appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks.